so seriously. Oh my gosh. I crack myself up, I swear. Hey, y'all. Welcome back to the podcast. This is your host, Liz, and I decided to do something different this time. I am recording myself, even though I don't have a guest lined up today. So I figured you'd see my pretty face outside of a TikTok or Instagram reel. So, welcome back. You're listening to the Bad Millennial Podcast, a podcast for millennials about millennial life and some pop culture madness here and there. This is episode 9, and I'm recording on Friday, October 20th. And today, I wanted to talk about balance and self care. It's kind of like the millennial mantra. So let's get into it. So today's topic, self care and balance, it really is like the millennial mantra. I'm taking that mantra to heart and, just trying to balance work life, fun life outside of work, and doing my things I love, which is reading, social media, making this podcast. So just a lot of balance and self care I've been thinking about. So, with all that being said, thank you for tuning in again, my loyal, lovely listeners. And today I'm just wanting to put a positive spin on the millennial experience because honestly, every headline and news article that you look at just has something always super negative to say. It's spin, so it's like whatever's going to grab the most eyeballs and clicks. Every generation does this. They have stereotypes and biases of other people's differences. Um, but it is interesting that the way media hopped on the millennial hating bandwagon was just so interesting. I mean, millennials were blamed for everything from like ruining, what is it, avocado toast to ruining theater attendance to company loyalty to the American dream. I mean, it is only human to think of the younger generation as stupid, and it's easy to blame them for everything and think they're self-absorbed and irrelevant, but like no, that's totally anti-millennial thinking. um Other generations, especially the press, just really twist these things that are naturally occurring based on, society changing, old institutions failing, and new things rising up. I mean, you know, the theater and movies have been on the decline for a while, especially with the streaming and the pandemic. Really, the only uptick that I've seen now is for like extremely popular things like Halloween movies or huge celebrities kind of saying, okay, it's only going to be in theaters, only for like 2 weeks later to be released on Peacock or something. Now, the latest thing with movies is the concert movies released, which I'm super excited about. I'm super proud of how badass our fellow millennials, Taylor Swift and Beyonce, have been. They're releasing their concert movies out this fall, and I guess December 1st is considered almost winter for Beyonce's, but that's awesome. I think it's a great experience, a great way to unite people to actually come together and have that concert experience, especially if you weren't lucky enough, like me, to go and experience the concert in person. I'm super ready. I had so many Beyonce outfits planned when I went to see her in Las Vegas that now I have even more options to see her in the theater. So that's going to be a really fun experience, singing around with everybody, watching, especially the behind the scenes shots of Blue and her babies and how she even like came up with this, and maybe even like a sneak peek to part 2 of the Renaissance. Fingers crossed. Um, but yeah, I think it's just an amazing way that millennials continue to be innovative, reimagine, and just break the old guard. Beyonce's released movies before. She has stuff on Netflix. She's done documentaries. So this isn't new. She's been in the game for a while, but being able to bring everyone together globally, not just this whole summer, which was amazing, but also via social media. There were so many challenges, especially with her Everybody on Mute challenge, which her city may or may not have won. And also being able to see her in the theaters Like, that's so cool. And I know that Taylor's been badass too. I mean, everyone that I work with and talk to, like, has mentioned her at least once or twice. And of course, her PR machine is like crazy. And all I can do is just give her all the props, all the kudos, the credit, because to be a woman that is that powerful, that independent, and is that in control of her career as well as her future, like, that's inspiring and aspiring to millennials like me and you guys, my listeners. So, again, all about girl power, all about supporting super amazing, strong, bad millennials out there. And yeah, really just spinning the bad spin on its head. Um, I think the world's always going to be changing. There's always going to be another generation out there that people want to put down. Gen Z, y'all are awesome. Like, you've risen, excuse me, you've, Gen Z, you have risen above the BS, and I couldn't be any more in awe or prouder. I think that Gen Z is amazing for prioritizing mental health, self care, being unique, and not being afraid to just be yourself and be out there. TikTok to me was like therapy, but also I learned so much from the younger generations as well as the older generations. Like, I see you boomers, like, some of you guys are actually on there, whether it's your grandkids or your adult children helping you record. Like, it's been a blast, being able to connect with people of different generations and just learning and having fun. And it's really just all about community. We're all in this together. We're on this big old floating rock in the middle of space that's heading towards nowhere. What else are we supposed to do, right? Like, enjoy the community, enjoy the laughter, enjoy everyone uniting together, and just, take it one step at a time, take it one moment at a time. We only have the present. That's why it's a gift. It's the greatest gift. So, yeah, everyone just enjoy being in your little generation bubbles, but also know that you can learn from the youth as well as the older people, as well as everyone who is coming across your path every day. So I'm going to say positive spend on the millennial experience is very important. And you know what? We love to twist situational stereotypes into the best case scenarios. All right, so don't own a home. Hey, living in your parents' basement is like the new eco friendly way to be. Don't have a car. I mean, you're probably getting a lot of cardio riding your bike to work or working from home. I mean, how many Starbucks runs have you saved money on since then? Like, the luxury of just being able to do what you want. Not married yet. Wow. I mean, the fact that there's a formula for how expensive the engagement ring should be is kind of crazy, especially since that diamond is going to outlast you. So you're basically decorating your skeleton, because I think that rock is going to outlast you and possibly the marriage. So do we really have to spend our like whole life savings and wages on that? Again, I just have my own bad millennial spin on things, but that's just me. So, I posed this question to my listeners. What bad millennial spins do you have? What kind of negative or crazy, weird, out of this world things have you heard about millennials or your generation that is just simply untrue, is simply outdated, false, silly? And what's your spin on it? I would love to hear your answers. You can either leave me a voice message, the link is in the show notes, or DM me or leave a comment on my Instagram or Twitter, and maybe even Threads if Threads figures out how to DM people. But yeah, leave me a comment. What is the craziest thing you've heard about your generation? And how do you put your positive or funny or like way badass spin on it? I would love to know. I would love to get tips, because there's always new things that are popping up that it feels like you're boxing them down. But really, you just have to accept that people are bored and kind of jealous of your bad millennial behavior. So let me know. So, I just kind of wanted to chit chat a little bit about how we really are just the product of our time. You know, obviously, our generation has experienced so many advances. Like, we grew up before technology and when it just came about and was developing. So, from having a MySpace top 8 till now, tweets and Twitter being used by world leaders. These shifts have really impacted our perception on the world and humanity and everyone around us. Like, the high levels of using technology in everyday life have increased exponentially. Like, I still remember when I got my first flip phone. It was a gold razor. I had the only gold one in all of high school. But even then, it was just texting with emojis and not really caring too much about social media. Like, maybe Facebook was a thing, but like really bad photos and filters. And Instagram was kind of just getting off the ground. Again, bad photos and filters. But it wasn't something that I bet my whole life on or that I was going to communicate with people on exclusively. But then everything just keeps going and growing. And now I spend so much time on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok. Like, I literally DM most people on Instagram nowadays. So of course I'm seeing all of my friends and so many strangers and ads doing things that are like millennial milestones, um, getting married, owning a home, having babies, um, promotions, you know, and we were raised on so many old school values. Like, there's certain steps that you have to follow, um, that really was how the world viewed success back then. But now we're kind of stuck in between two value systems, the one that was pre technology and everything being online and work from home, to now where it seems like everyone's so performative online, which is kind of just a natural thing of how we progress from just having it as a nice, fun little decompressing hobby to, oh my God, my entire life is on Instagram, or I can't get through the day without tweeting my thoughts, or else, is anyone going to hear me? It's kind of like if a tree falls in the forest, does it make a sound when no one's around? So I think it's very interesting how we came up during an age of technological advancement, but we were also raised on those old school traditional values that didn't see what new opportunities technology could bring and how we could create our own paths. And we were kind of raised for a world that doesn't really exist anymore. So the whole tried and true of climbing the corporate ladder and, sucking up and just going to traditional jobs and stuff, now you can do what you want. You can pursue passion and still get a paycheck. You can still make it. It's fine to make funny TikToks and not expect your boss to like reprimand you the next day and be like, oh my God, I can't believe you do that. Personally, I make TikToks for work now. Like, that's how my life has progressed. It's pretty cool. Um, so it's very interesting that we have these two different value systems kind of at war in our head, and it's a bit, we're constantly at odds at times, I think, and that's to be expected. It's kind of like, do I choose my passion over pay? Do I, live my dream? Do I want, or do I make my parents and my grandparents happy? Do I follow the rules of, you know corporate responsibility and expectations, or do I, you know try to make something of myself that I'd be proud of, that I'd be proud to tell my friends, my future children, my future, partners about? Like, do I fly to Europe and live there for a year, or do I chain myself to a desk for 8 hours a day? Because a 9 to 5 is the way our parents and every generation before us has survived. So it's so millennial to think about, but is there anything more millennial than like thinking about these things and choosing passion over practicality? I don't know. So it's just interesting how millennials are digital natives and seeing how we were actually brought up in an unplugged type of world, but now our present and our future is so plugged in and so online. We're actually not that contradictory. If anything, I would say millennials, and especially my bad millennials, know the most, if not a thing or two, about how to be balanced because we're constantly balancing ourselves. We're constantly balancing these value systems, these beliefs, these traditions, these learnings that we were brought up with before they even knew what kind of future or what the world would bring us in our young adulthood. And it is extremely interesting. And I think that we have so many lessons to share about how to balance real world drama with online drama and being able to balance and making sure that you're appreciative of what the world has given you, but making sure that you are not of the world. Make sure that you are less online, but you're not ignorant of what's happening online. Make sure that you do smile at your neighbor or help someone carry their packages or say hi to a human. Get outside once a day, touch grass, being able to be human while also having that digital experience, that requires balance. And I think millennials are more than equipped to teach and share all the things that we've learned and are continuing to learn. But, we're not new to this. We're true to this. We grew up in this. So if anyone knows anything about self care and balance and how to put positive spin on all the negatives, it's us. Bad millennials. That's bad millennial behavior right there. So, how much are y'all loving these new transitions? Because I am. I just want to say thank you guys so much for your patience, for your support, for your encouragement, and for inspiring me. I have had a blast. This, podcast has been almost like therapy, but it's also just been fun to connect with you guys, to make more of a community the way I did with my Bookstagram, which is at another reader account. If you want to follow, go ahead, go and follow. But yeah, I really had a blast and I wouldn't change a thing. So I'm super happy that you guys have continued to listen, continue to rate and like. If you like this episode, if you got through this episode, if you liked what I talked about, please, please, please leave a rating and write a quick review. It could even just be one word. Awesome. And subscribe so you never miss an episode. I'm also on YouTube. I will be uploading this there as well. So, keep voting, keep liking. It really helps. And, spread the word of mouth. I still respect it, even with all of these tweets and TikToks and YouTube shorts and whatever. I still respect word of mouth. Send someone a letter about Bad Millennial Podcast. Whichever way you prefer to get the word out there, I am all for it. So thanks again for tuning in. If you have a question or comments, please leave it in the review or leave a voice message on Spotify, link in the notes. You can also DM and follow me at Bad Millennial Pod on Instagram, as well as on Twitter at _Bad Millennial _ and get even more relatable content. And I cannot wait to hear from you guys. Again, also, if you want to rock some merch, you can go to my Etsy shop at Bad Millennial Shop, no spaces. And you can also find the shop at the link in the bio, as well as visit my lovely, beautiful website at badmillennialpod.com. I've also started some blog content on there as well as on Medium, because I am a writer first and at heart, started up with writing and copywriting and have a journalism degree. So kind of want to write some things too. So if you guys enjoy that, you can subscribe to my blog on Medium at Bad Millennial Podcast, as well as wait for the next post to come out on my website at badmillennialpod.com. All right, I think I've got enough self promotion out there, all the plugs. Thank you guys so much again, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.